Hi, I'm Becca, and this is my husband, Gabe.
That's me.
Welcome to the podcast celebrating Jack Russell Terrier dogs.
And all the joys of companionship with canines of every kind.
Each week, we'll explore all the heartfelt, humbling, and hilarious stories that only dog parents can truly relate to. We're Jack Russell parents. Gabe, what do you think our fuzzy baby Carson would do if he could boldly go where no man has gone before?
He'd be chasing stray bits of food that are floating around the cabin.
And he probably wouldn't need a jetpack because he could rocket around space with his farts.
No doubt. Also, it would take forever to get to the next planet because he would have to pee on every meteor and comet that we passed.
Yes. It would take us some time. And he would bark every time a Martian knocked on the shuttle door. Assuming Martians knock. Don't know.
And he could play a perpetual game of fetch because gravity would never stop the ball from bouncing around the cabin.
Yes. You might be onto something here. Essentially, we could throw the ball once and he could chase it back and forth forever. I like this idea. Speaking of canines and the cosmos, puppy parents, we have the most stellar treat for you today.
See what you did there.
We have the privilege of hearing from the super talented creator of the Netflix original cartoon, Dogs in Space, and his fellow executive producer and showrunner who has contributed to such awesome projects such as She-Ra, Princess of Power, DuckTales, DreamWorks Dragons, and Kung Fu Panda. Welcome to the Jack Russell Parents Studio via Zoom, Jeremiah Cortez and Adam Henry.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Howdy, y'all.
First, we would love to know, how did the two of you team up on this super fun project?
Well, we were sharing a jail cell back in the day. No, just kidding. Just kidding. You know, Jeremiah sold the show and he interviewed a bunch of different showrunners to help him make the show. You know, when we met, I think it was just kismet that we really got along really well.
Yeah, I met Adam. When did I meet you? Like early
2018.
Yeah, somewhere mid 2018 or so.
I remember the day exactly, Jeremiah. I have it in my scrapbook.
Speaking of which, I have it in my calendar. I call it my Adamversary. It's coming up. It's coming up in a week or so. But we met casually over coffee. We had the same representation at Gotham, and they just thought it would be nice for us to meet. Adam had the pitch Bible at that point. He just told me everything that he loved about the idea. And for me, I didn't hear a person trying to get a job. I heard a person who really felt passionate about the story itself.
That's great.
And for me, it was just, oh, okay, this guy gets it. He sees what I see.
Yeah.
The potential of the show, Dogs in Space. He was just the other part of my brain. And when time came to pick an executive producer for the show, I went through numerous people. And then at the last point where I had to really make my pick, Netflix said, oh, do you know Adam Henry? We're going to bring him in for an interview. And I was like, Adam's coming in? Yes, okay. I don't need this interview. You guys need to vet him, of course, but I already give him my approval and let's hire him immediately.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, me and Adam have been inseparable ever since, and we're one mind on this show.
That's fantastic.
It's such an intimate job, you know, show running. And
yeah,
it's 2 years, 3 years. You really want it to be someone you get along with.
Absolutely. It's such hard work. And when you can feed off of each other rather than butting heads, it just makes the process that much more enjoyable.
Right.
Yep.
So the inspiration for Dogs in Space, that cliche question, but really we are interested. How did it come to you in a dream, or is this a goal of your dog?
The whole premise of the show came a little later. It first started as just a comic book that I did in a sketchbook for myself. And it was just my way of practicing story. It was just an idea of going from panel to panel, not knowing where the story was going to go, letting the characters and their actions dictate what my next panel was going to be.
Gotcha.
So I needed a character. And I always wanted a corgi growing up. And it was just one of those things to where the price tag and my life situation, there was just no way I was ever really going to afford a corgi. So I decided I'm going to do a comic with my corgi. And I named him Garbage. I always wanted a corgi named Garbage. That's just my type of humor.
That's fantastic.
And so it was based around him. And of course, I don't know what possessed me to do space, but I put him in space. I gave him some friends and sent him on this little adventure. And this was my senior year of college when I started doing this. So my peers and, I had a part-time job at Starbucks.
Yep.
And my coworkers there would read the comic. I would leave it out on the desk or pass it around class. And people would give me feedback like, oh, I love this character. I love this. Or it was so funny when this happened. And the bigger question was always, are there more pages? Are there more pages? Are there more pages?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It was everybody's excitement for that story that kept me doing it. And then once I graduated, you go from 12, 13-hour days of working on your senior film to nothing. And it just felt like I'm going to fall behind. I'm going to get in trouble. All these different emotions that you would naturally go through once you graduate and have no more class work to do.
Yes.
So I decided to do a little animated scene of Garbage just turning to the camera and waving. And I did it, pencil test, real rough, and I posted it. And I asked people, would you guys like to see more of this? And, everybody went crazy thinking I was actually producing something. And then from there, it was like, okay, well, maybe there's something to this story. There's something bigger here.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started really working on the premise of, okay, if I want to pitch this as a show, what would the story actually be? And from there, it just snowballed into this bigger world and this bigger story of, these dogs who are now experiencing what it is to be human for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's giving the viewer something to really think about, as far as what it is to be a dog and what their emotions must be like and what it is just to be human.
It's super great.
I'm hoping it makes people more connected to their dogs as a whole.
And how many dogs did you grow up with, Jeremiah?
Ugh, so many. My mom would probably get mad for calling her out on this, but it was always a zoo in my house growing up.
That's great.
I think at one point we got pretty close to having maybe 15 dogs.
Wow.
Wow.
Just because two of the dogs overlapped with having litters.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah, we've always had dogs. Right now, she currently has 3 dogs and 2 turtles. And I think she got a second cat. So she has 2 cats as well.
That's great.
So I've always grown up with pets. I have 2 dogs of my own.
Awesome. Side question. What are those 2 dogs that you have right now?
I have a French bulldog who's named Pound Cake. She's about 6-7 months now.
Oh.
And then I have a long-haired German Shepherd, and his name's Lello.
Oh.
And I've had him for 11 years now.
Wow.
Awesome.
How about you, Adam? Any dogs?
I have a dark secret that I have to reveal here, right?
I could
Right
feel it
now.
coming.
I own cats.
Oh, it's a deep, dark secret.
Oh, no. We are very inclusive at this show. Cat lovers are welcome.
It's good to know because, I was a little worried at first, but Jeremiah was very, very forgiving with that. I didn't have to get rid of the cats to work on the show.
No.
Good.
It gives you another perspective.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And it sounds like, Jeremiah, that you've had so many varieties of dogs. So this kind of leads me to our next question. So when we as Jack Russell parents think of a JRT, we automatically put them in the role of the leader, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you all went a different direction. And when we watched the first episode, we were rolling. You nailed the Jack Russell character traits, specifically the thievery that Jack Russell does. So is there a story behind that character? How do you know them so well?
When we started making this show and picking the main cast, it was deciding which breeds that would have the best chemistry together. And Jack Russells were always on the top of my list as far as the crew. I grew up watching Frasier,
Yes.
and Frasier's like one of my all-time favorite sitcoms. And they have a Jack Russell in there named Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love this breed. It's really funny. It's smart.
Yeah.
It's conniving. Then you have the Jack Russell in The Mask, who's also a goofy, conniving little dog. And then I watched 30 Rock a lot as well. And in 30 Rock, you had Dr. Spaceman, who was this really goofy, sly character. And that's where Ed came from, was just adding that breed of a Jack Russell with Dr. Spaceman, this really conniving kind of character. What's crazy is we actually got Chris Parnell to voice him as well. So all around, we got the perfect Ed character that we wanted.
That's great.
That's awesome.
And I did actually listen to your "Why Does My Dog Steal Things?" And I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's our character. We could have almost just pulled that podcast and applied it to Ed.
Yeah,
I especially liked why do they steal? To entertain themselves, and that really is kind of a lot of why Ed steals, because it really he just does it for fun.
Absolutely.
It was part of his pitch Bible as far as for the writers.
Mm-hmm.
His whole thing is to pull the biggest con he can, and that's his reward. That's his want, is just to see how far he can do one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has loot all over. If you watch the show, there'll be like half a dozen moments where he's got loot in other people's rooms. He's got loot in boxes and bins that he's trying to sell. I mean,
oh my gosh,
he's definitely a loot hider, which apparently is a JRT thing.
It sure is.
It's so real. You guys nailed it. How about the other breeds? Did you all confer with other dog owners?
The other breeds, same process. It was picking the right chemistry. For me, it was, I want to do a sitcom in space. To me, this is Frasier meets Star Trek in a sense.
Yes.
If Garbage is this character who's very driven and doesn't like to follow protocol, and it gets him and his crew into trouble all the time, what kind of cast would he need to have circling him?
Mm-hmm.
So from there, it was picking out those personalities, and then also just trying to pick which breeds would fit those personalities the best. And, with the show, it was very much, I want to target the Trekkies, the sci-fi lovers of the world, but still want to grab the dog lovers of the world.
Yeah.
And, everyone has their favorite breed. And that was one of the goals of the show for me, was to make sure that we were getting as many breeds as we possibly could into the show. That way, when people watch it, they get excited and they're looking for their dog in the show.
And it's very specific. You see a dog in the background. It's not just a dog. It's a specific, Bouvier de Flanders is tending the bar. It's not just a fluffy dog back there.
Yeah.
Right, Jeremiah? Pretty much every dog in the show. Were there any mutts, or was it all pure breed?
Yeah. Well, we have like a golden doodle in there. So we do have some of those. But for the most part, we wanted to try to get as many breeds in there as possible, just so everybody can have their moment of seeing their dog in the show.
Yeah, and Jeremiah was determined that, anyone who had a dog who was connected to the show in any way, Jeremiah would ask them what their dog was, get a picture of it, and put their dog in the show. So there's about 40 actual dog owners' dogs in the show.
That's great.
Aww.
That's fantastic. When I first saw the image, I could see that you really took the time to draw a specific breed. And the first thing I'm going to look for is a Jack Russell. And I saw Ed. I'm like, that I know that's a Jack Russell, but I had to I had to confirm. I had to go to Jeremiah's Instagram and start blowing up the comments and making sure, because I was just so excited for the show in general, but also that you included a Jack Russell.
Yeah. And I love that when the viewers can see their dog, it just makes it that much more personal and relatable. With that, here are some fun products you are sure to relate to. I found the best way to meet new people is through our mutual love of dogs. People love sharing their dog stories with other puppy parents and introducing their dogs to us, and vice versa.
Every time we take Carson for a walk, new friendships are born.
I know, right? Like, people cross the street, even come out of their homes to make Carson's acquaintance.
But we can't take him everywhere.
Unfortunately, no. But that's when our Jack Russell Parents attire takes effect. Cute holiday prints like fall in love with a Jack Russell. I'm thankful for my Jack Russell. All I want for Christmas is a Jack Russell. And puppies make the season merry and bright are the perfect way to celebrate the season and your adorable pup. So, are you a proud puppy parent that wants to connect with other puppy parents? Or do you simply like super cute doggy themed attire to go with your cozy leggings or heavy coat? Either way, we have what you need at the Jack Russell Parents Store.
All our awesome prints come in a variety of t-shirts, hoodies, baby onesies, coffee mugs, and even face masks. Your choice.
To join the Doggy Squad, check out all the rad merch options at jackrussellparents.com. Simply click on Shop at the top and place your order. Happy holidays, puppy parents! We're back with the brilliant Jeremiah Cortez and Adam Henry, executive producers of the hilarious new Netflix cartoon, Dogs in Space. And speaking of the animation, so we love how the animation is minimalistic without being simplistic.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you settle on that style of animation for the show?
I don't know if anyone can track down the original art that I did for the character Garbage in the beginning, but it's very detailed. You could see the fur lines and there's a lot of scuffs to his spacesuit. It was different because that was just for me. As if it was going to go into a comic book form, this is kind of the vibe I would want. But once I decided I wanted to pitch this as an animated show, and given that I have my degree in animation, it was just, I already know this can't be done. And with my style of drawing, it was very much already grounded in being simple with as many overlapping lines and simple things just to show form and make sure that they still looked three-dimensional and they looked heavy and they had weight and bones. So that's something that carried into the show. The reason for them being so simplistic in their design as well was just to make sure that the viewers were always aware, you know, on a subconscious level, that these dogs don't belong in space. So these dogs are very simple, but when you see them fighting aliens or countering aliens and different planets, there's a lot more detail happening there. So that way you visually see that these dogs are out of their element.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be astronauts to begin with.
I really love the detail of the muffin top necks that everybody has, even the humans.
Yeah.
It's like their suit is just a little too tight, so it bulges up.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's real, you know. Dogs have it. My French bulldog, she has the biggest neck roll because of her collar. And, it's a French bulldog. They have all that extra skin.
Yeah.
They're like wearing an extra large onesie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she has the biggest neck fold. And it was just something I wanted to do. It just looked funny to have them in clothes and to have their fur and neck, overlap.
So, Adam, having seen the show completed, what are you most proud of so far?
I love comedy. And so it was nice to do a show that had a lot of things that I just personally find really funny. Sight gags, verbal gags, just character moments. So that was, very rewarding. And, I've worked on a lot of cartoons, and Jeremiah and I are both animation hounds. Like, I started as an animator on Iron Giant. Jeremiah's taught animation. So we never needed anyone to come in and say, hey, fix the animation or make it look better. We were just really zeroed in on making these simple characters, like you just said, move really well.
Right.
Even though they're simple, to animate well and to look cool moving through space. Inadvertent pun. So, yeah, the end product is pretty much exactly what we wanted.
Jeremiah mentioned Frasier being an inspiration. How about you?
Yeah, I'd say all his sitcoms that he loves, the ones I love, the era of 30 Rock, The Office, Parks and Rec, those drier humor shows are definitely ones that we loved. I obviously watched Frasier in its day.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Friends in its day.
Mm-hmm.
All the way back to Mary Tyler Moore and the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yes.
I've loved sitcoms. So that Jeremiah wanted to have this show have a sitcom flavor was really great. And and there's cartoons now that I feel like have some of the best sitcom writing, like a Bob's Burgers type show, or Rick and Morty, BoJack Horseman. These shows writing wise are just amazing, and they're cartoons, but the writing is as good as any of those live action shows.
And we would definitely put your show in that category because we're watching it and we're like, okay, is this going to be like an animation show for adults or is it going to be for kids? We weren't sure before we watched it. It's in the family category on Netflix. So it's for kids, but it's very sophisticated in the storytelling and in the humor. And we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh.
We had a good cast of writers. They just nailed this show. It was led by James Hamilton. That guy is just a talented story writer. this idea of a sitcom in space and the emotional feel, but at the exact same time trying to make sure that this is really, really funny and action packed was not an easy thing. You know, it took us a while to find our footing and to find the right momentum and the right pacing for even the storytelling and dialogue and action, you know, the formula. And, you know, I have to give the writers credit for that.
Yeah, you obviously have an incredible team working on this. And I will just say that when we finished watching the first episode, we were like, oh, poop, it's over.
Yeah.
You know, we can't wait to see the next one. But before y'all go, we have one final super fun and super zoomy round of questions for you. So we'll ask you a quick question, and both of you can just tell us the first answer that pops into your head.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. If you could be a Ninja Turtle or a Power Ranger, which one would you be?
I mean, for me, you'd be Raphael for the Ninja Turtle.
Oh, nice.
Power Ranger, aren't they all the same?
I mean, one got a shield.
Oh, yeah.
And one plays like a flute dagger. I don't remember.
Yeah, same guy. I would probably be that guy.
Okay.
The Green Ranger, yeah.
All right. Okay.
As far as Ninja Turtle, I've always felt like I was a Donatello just because I was the more planning out strategic person growing up. And I still feel like I'm that guy.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. So what's one thing that we would find in your fridge right now?
For me, chicken noodle soup that I made with matzo balls.
Oh, nice.
Yum.
For me, you're going to find a lot of...
He doesn't cook, I should warn you. It could just be a bowl of water.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I was going to say right now. It's just coconut yogurt and then cantaloupe, pre-sliced cantaloupe. I don't
know how he even survives. To be honest.
I hardly cook, so it's pretty much I have to buy stuff that is ready to be consumed.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what dogs in space character do you identify with the most and why?
For me, it'd probably be Chonies. I always think of myself as a little nerd, basically. And the voice actor that we got had not worked in animation, and so he gave it a super authentic feel, which was really kind of fun to see animated and to hear.
That's
Awesome.
great.
Yeah, for me, it would most likely be Captain Garbage.
Mhm.
You know, I created the show, so I think the main cast has a little bit of myself in different respects as far as personality. Love's a little more skittish, so I put whatever fearful parts of myself into the character. Choni's the same way, as probably being, you know, the runt of the group. I've experienced that growing up, so
Mhm.
I knew how to write that character. But for Garbage, it was very much this idea of this grand goal of being recognized as a great captain and making his owner, Chelsea, proud.
Aw.
You know, there's a lot of Garbage in me to where setting off on this journey to try to get my own show was, you know, 1,000,000-to-1 scenario. And I knew it from a very, very young age.
What were you doing, Jeremiah, when you heard you got the show sold?
When I sent in the pitch material through email to Netflix, I didn't think I was going to hear anything back. And at that point in time, I was working at a factory that produced the pigment mixture for the traffic paint that you see on the streets, the yellow and white.
What? I love this story.
That's what I was doing. You know, working a crane that lifted 2-ton bags of, you know, glass beads and pigments and stuff. Very dangerous stuff. I had to use my hands a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, forklift driving. You know, I got the phone call at work
Wow.
while I was covered in this pigment dust that they wanted to meet. So, yeah,
Oh,
it's
man.
long answer. I resonate more with Garbage and his "will I make it" mindset.
I'm so proud. I don't even know you, but I feel like I want to say that to you. I'm so proud. This is so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Few more quick questions.
Cake, ice cream, or both?
Both.
Cake.
Since you're both animators, are you Team Tom or Team Jerry?
Ooh, Jerry. Only because that's my nickname.
Yeah, Team Tom.
Okay. And that's why you're a good team. All right.
Exactly.
Roller coaster or water slides?
Roller coaster. I don't like water.
Water slide. If you asked me 20 years ago, I would have said roller coaster. But now, in my older age, I need something a little gentler. So a nice water slide.
I like that. Yeah.
We both said water slide too, but only if the park is closed to the public.
Just by ourselves on the slide. That's it.
So no pee in the pool. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And no one's seen my holiday weight.
And lastly, Jeremiah, you told us about your adorable Frenchie. Will Pound Cake make an appearance in Dogs in Space?
I got Pound Cake very close. I think we're practically in post-production when I got her. Only 7 months now.
Mm.
So she unfortunately did not get to make the cut. We tried to get as many dogs into the show as we could.
Yeah.
But Lalo, your other dog is in there.
Yeah, Lilo will make an appearance at some point.
German Shepherd.
Awesome.
Nice. All right.
Wonderful. Well, we are so grateful that we had a chance to meet with you both and talk with you. This has really been a blast.
A blast and an honor.
Yeah, no, thank you. And like I said, now I'm turned on to your podcast, so I'm gonna be a regular. It's a really good podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I hope you guys do more podcast episodes of what you think of Ed moving forward.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mark your calendar, set an alarm, drop whatever else you think you have going on, and tune into Dogs in Space on November 18th on Netflix. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn from the content? Or did you just have a good, relatable laugh? Well, now what? It's time to subscribe, follow, keep listening, and give a positive review on the Apple Podcast app. Then share the podcast with other puppy parents. This will allow us to connect you and your friends with fun, dog-loving content week after week. Until next time, this is Becca and Gabe, the Jack Russell parents.
Say bye, Carson.
We'd love to connect with you online at jackrussellparents.com or on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at JRT Podcasts. That's at JRT for Jack Russell Terrier Podcast.
The Jack Russell Parents Podcast is produced by Earball Audio.
Jack Russell Parents is brought to you in part by Super Chewer. From the makers of BarkBox, Super Chewer is a themed monthly delivery of toys and treats made especially for dogs who play harder and demand a challenge. Simply go to jackrussellparents.com and click the Super Chewer link to enjoy their great offers while also supporting our podcast.